Hi friends, welcome back to Bentley Lane Creations. Today I am making a gingerbread boy from this bendable muslin doll. This is an 18-inch doll that I picked up at Hobby Lobby for $8.99 and 40 off. I'm painting him with apple barrel nutmeg brown paint, and it does take 3 coats to get it to look good and not be splotchy. I'm also going to use this 1/2-inch wide rickrack zigzag ribbon for his frosting. I ended up picking this up at Hobby Lobby as well, and I think it was like $2.99 or something like that. You will use, I used 1.5 rolls of that and did 2 dolls. Now you see me cutting apart this pillow. I purchased this pillow at Walmart. I buy the extra firm pillows there and use them for the polyfill. It is a less expensive way to get a huge thing of polyfill. You end up getting twice as much polyfill for half the cost. And then you can also use the pillow fabric itself to for the crafts. So here you see me using part of that to cut out his little chef's cap, and then glue it with my Gorilla glue gun to close off those seams before I fill it. Now I glued this entire project because I wanted to do that for people who do not sew. I know there are a lot of people who don't sew or don't like to sew, so I wanted to see that we could do this with just using the glue gun. Now you see me stuffing the hat. I'm going to go ahead and stuff it until I think it looks pretty good and then set it aside. I'm now going to glue on that rickrack for his frosting, and I'm going to glue it around the front of his face where the seams are on the doll. The doll has seams running in the front and the back of his head, and then around both arms and both legs. Now I covered both the front of his head and the back of his head the same way, and then I took it and started it where I left off at his neck from his face and went down both seams of his arms, front and back, and I ended the back at the neck as well in the same spot so that it looked like it was seamless. And then I took it and went around both of his feet. Now I did both the boy and the girl the same exact way so their frosting would match. And then I went ahead and glued his hat closed and then glued it to the top of his head. And I had this plaid fabric that I used on her dress. It was just what I had on hand. And I ended up taking that and running glue strips and then rolling it into like a tube, almost like a tube-like fabric, and glued it around for the rim of his hat on his head, and it turned out so cute. I took this little velvet bow. I got this package at Hobby Lobby as well in My Little Christmas. I don't remember how many you get exactly or what the cost was, but I think it was just a few dollars. And then I bought this one ornament. It had like 8 or 12 of these little peppermint candies on it, and I just cut them off, and then you'll see that they have those plastic loops on them from where they were hanging from the ribbon, and I just took my tool and simply just clipped that off of each one, and these ended up being the perfect size button to use for the gingerbread. I sanded down where I cut those plastic pieces off just to make sure that it was nice and smooth before I glued them on. And then I just glued them on to his body. Now you'll see me getting my black paint. I used apple barrel black to make his eyes, and I'm not a professional painter by any means. So the way I did mine is I just took a thin brush and I just drew straight lines. I just wanted to make sure that I had them at the right height, the same length on both sides, before I started making the exact shape. And then from there, I just kind of fattened them up and rounded them off. So I essentially made ovals for his eyes. And so I just continue to do this, to use the brush, and I just did it very slowly and so that I wouldn't have to, so that I wouldn't get one larger than the other and having to keep going back and forth, back and forth. So I just took my time doing this. Again, I'm not a professional painter. This is probably the place where I struggle the most when I am creating things is painting faces. But I think this turned out absolutely adorable. The eyes were perfect. You'll see me I keep picking him up to look at him to see that they're good before I move on. Now for his nose, I used the Folk Art Apple Red, and I painted his nose in the exact same way that I painted his eyes. I painted his eyes up and down ovals, and I just did his nose in the same way, but I just did it from side to side instead of up and down. And I just started with a red line. I just wanted to make sure that I had it centered and kind of went from there. So you'll see me keep going, and I'll just keep filling in until it just gets as wide as I think it should be. Once I'm happy with his nose, I'm going to go ahead and grab the white paint. I'm using Deco Art Snow White, and I'm going to fill in on his eyes just little round white area, and then above each one of those I put 2 little dots. So it's just the circles and the dots. That's all I'm doing. And then I will put a little accent on his nose as well. Just a little line and a little dot just to kind of highlight it. You see me keep looking at him to see him up close. Now I'm going to take my pink eyeshadow blush that I get at Dollar Tree. I use this to for blush on anything that I'm painting a face on. And I just use the applicator and just put it directly on there, and it tends to stay. And it just adds a little something to their cheeks without having to use paint. Now you see that I am using an ultra fine Sharpie, and I made him a little mouth and some eyelashes. I thought that would be really, really cute. Here I am showing you the girl. You will be able to see these better in the photos. The video was not ideal for trying to show them close up and that, but I do appreciate you watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, I hope that you'll come back for more. Thanks a lot. This has been Tammy with Bentley Lane Creations. Have a great day, friends.